Still, all of those numbers, as impressive as they are, pale in comparison to Honda, who also recently had a press briefing in which they summed up the motorcycle side of their business. Now, they announced for the current financial year that ends March 31st, 2025, that they're expecting to end up with a total global sales figure of 20.2 million motorcycles. 20 million bikes is just so hard to get your head around to kind of picture that number of bikes. And while, of course, a lot of it comes from smaller, cheaper, low-capacity bikes and scooters in Asian markets, they say that's 85% of their sales, so 17 million. Even in the US, Europe and Japan combined, they've sold 1.2 million, which is still a humongous amount when you set it against other manufacturers. Apparently, though, Honda aren't satisfied with 20 million bikes sold because they estimate that the total global market for motorcycles is around 50 million, and it'll grow if you include electric two-wheeled EVs to 60 million by 2030. Honda say in their goals to pursue carbon neutrality by producing more electric bikes that they're intending to grow their market share to 50% by then, and so that would mean they'd be selling 30 million bikes a year. How are they going to do that? Well, they outline quite a few measures, including using their dealership network of 6,000 locations in India to offer more charging points to try and reduce range anxiety from Honda electric bike customers, reducing the cost of ownership by building a dedicated electric motorcycle factory in India by 2028, looking at ways to recycle and reuse the batteries, and also, just building more electric bikes, introducing more models. They say 30, I think, by 2030 as well. Still, in Europe, those impressive sales figures are largely driven by what they call large-size fun models, and they put their success down to some existing lineups like the CB Naked, CBR sports bikes, Africa Twin Adventure bikes, and Rebel Cruisers, but also the recent successful resurrection, let's say, of some historically popular sub-brands like the Hornet and the Transalp. They also claim a couple of techie USPs like the DCT automatic gearbox and the new e-clutch system have given them a bit of an advantage perhaps in some of these markets, and so they now claim the largest market share in 5 key European markets, specifically calling out Italy, Germany, France, Spain, and also here in the UK. I think, though, the most interesting thing to come out of all this press briefing is a bit of an update on their V3 concept, which they announced at the back end of 2024, which is an interesting looking prospect, a very unusual engine configuration, and it also looks like it'll be turbocharged as well. They do mention it again as a sort of successful concept bike in the main press release, but I was reading up on Ride Apart, very good website, so do check it out if you haven't already. And they say that there was a longer Q&A with the press after the initial presentation, in which some of the senior managers from Honda's motorcycle division said they've actually ridden a working prototype of a V3 bike at the Honda factory in Japan just a couple of weeks back. They then went on to say that there are more updates coming soon. And so while they did say initially when they announced this concept that the intention was to take it to production, it's still good to see that it's on the cars and that the wheels are in motion, so to speak. I'm certainly looking forward to that one and wonder what kind of bikes they'll use it in. But let me know what you think of it down in the comments below.